Vou usar para catuchado. Welcome you all to this press briefing, which is an extraordinary, urgent press briefing, an election watch update on today, polling day. Without further ado, I'm going to defer to our presidential chief election agent, who's going to first address us, and then we'll see what follows from there. Thanks.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good evening.
As we promised earlier on when we met in the morning, we promised that we will be giving you updates on the ongoing election as reports coming from all over the country flow into our offices. The first thing to do perhaps is just to convey the message from the President that he appreciates the resilience that has been shown by the Zimbabwean public, who despite and hindrances, they have remained resolute that they will not go home without casting their ballots and expressing their will through the right to exercise to vote. Now, despite the frustrations of being made to wait in queues for long hours, not knowing when they will vote, the majority have chosen to stay put and exercise their democratic rights. The second issue that we want to highlight this afternoon, or evening rather, is to bring to you the various concerns that have arisen throughout the day as we were receiving reports. Now, we are still receiving these reports, but one of the most significant reports we continue to receive is that as at 3 p.m. this afternoon, some polling stations in Harare, particularly Ward 16, in Warren Park, Ward 15, Budiriro, Ward 33, the voting had not yet started. We were receiving calls from the candidates there, worried whether the ballot is still going to continue, whether voting is still going to continue. What we have done is that we do not hurry and come here to address you about our concerns. The first thing that we do is that we approach ZEC and engage ZEC and seek explanations regarding the current defect that we are experiencing. I can confirm that I have been to ZEC in the morning. I've been there seeking explanations. Oh, thank you. I see that observers are also just coming in to observe this press conference. So, like I was saying, we have gone to ZEC and sought clarity on the delays that have been experienced in the conveyance of ballot papers, especially for the local authority elections, to the various polling stations. Unfortunately, we have not been able to obtain satisfactory explanations for those delays. Now, the problem that we have is that you will recall that on the 18th of August 2023, if I'm not mistaken, they issued a publication that they had printed ballot papers, and they specified the number of ballot papers that had been printed and that they were ready to be distributed. Now, the question to be asked is why have those ballot papers not found their way to the respective polling stations on time to enable the electorate to vote on time within the anticipated time frames? That explanation is not forthcoming. Of course, we are all aware that in terms of the law, people have an opportunity to vote within 12 hours of voting starting, which might mean that those who started voting at 2 might have to vote up to 2 a.m. in the morning. So they have that leeway to vote. This is why we have insisted that our members who have soldiered on, stayed at the polling stations to have the opportunity to vote, must stay there, must be able to exercise their right to vote. And so this is what has been transpiring. And these explanations have not come. I can clarify that issue is of obtain such clarification from ZEC. Everyone can only wonder what is happening. So this is not only happening in Harare. We've been receiving calls from Penalonga, we've been receiving calls from Manicaland of the issue of the delayed vote. Of course, in Bulawayo there were delays, but they started voting, some early, some at 10, and some much later on. But it is important for us to say, it is very critical for ZEC to be able to come to the public and indicate why the voting has been delayed in these places. The biggest mandate of ZEC is transparency. Transparency is making information available and telling the public what is happening. I made to understand that a presser was issued earlier on by the ZEC officials, but at this stage as a party, we are not satisfied with the explanation. And certainly you may not be surprised that some people have been disenfranchised, especially those from the CCC strongholds, the metropolitan parts of the country, who should have been able to vote by now. We should have been starting to think about vote counting by now, but that has not yet happened. So we are really worried about this. The other worry, the other concern that has arisen is that in some parts, particularly Chikanga, Murao, our polling station, we received information that the ballot papers for the presidential vote were not sufficient. Now, it begs the question, how is it possible? Because these ballots, when they are sent out on the basis of registered voters of the polling station. So how is it possible ballot papers can be said to be insufficient? So that's another issue that we are flagging to the public. Also, is that I'm sure you are all now aware, social media is awash with the reports of the exit poll desks that are all over, and you probably know who has been manning those exit poll desks. These are a concern because to us they constitute voter intimidation, and they are a hindrance to the exercise of the free will to vote. So this is a concern which is really worrying us as a party. But after all is said and done, we are still insisting that our people have done well to remain at their polling stations, to remain strong and steadfast, wishing to cast their ballots. Of course, there have been reports of violence with visuals coming from all over the country of people who have been attacked, with the situation of one of the honorable members, a candidate from Zarabani, Honorable Wellington Gweru. He was attacked this afternoon. As we were coming to this presser, he was actually at the police station making a report. You are all also aware of the situation involving one of the candidates, Tongai Jake from Bindura, where there was a petrol bomb, and that an infant was harmed and is currently in hospital. So these are some of the issues that have so far arisen. There are multiple issues. We cannot exhaust them at this conference. All we need to do is to alert the public, to alert the media, alert the observers, so that they are watchful as they go about their business in this election. Perhaps also just to indicate that we've received reports from other parts of the country where the level of assisted voters is quite high. In one of the places, the report I received was that assisted voters are about 90%. This is also worrying. These are some of these details are details that would require members of the media to verify, would require observers to verify, would require ZEC to bring to our attention, because the easiest thing for ZEC is to be able to clarify issues even where they are not clear. Our purpose here is not to mislead and misinform the public. Our purpose here is to come and place issues before you so that those who care, those with the capacity to go about as members of the media, as members of the observer missions, they can also go and verify on their own. But more importantly, that ZEC should be able to clarify any issues and dispel any suspicions that might exist in the minds of the voting public, as well as those that are observing these elections. So for now, I would say that these are some of the issues that we have. There are multiple issues that have arisen. Reports are still coming in. So we'll keep you updated. We'll keep coming to you. If you find anything also that requires our attention as a political party, please bring it to our attention. It is absolutely important in this watershed election for us to all put our heads in the same direction and make sure that we stand for a democratic dispensation that has got the principles that are enshrined in the Constitution all realized, enforced, and recognized. For now, I thank you. So let me at this juncture allow an official from our elections directorate, Ms. Ellen, to come and address you on other issues that I may have left out in my address. Ellen.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the press. I'll just make a few additions with respect to what is transpiring today and also what has been encountered by the people of Zimbabwe. Basically, I'll talk about mainly the challenges that we experience, particularly issues around the ballot paper. We have noted with concern as the CCC the delays in the provision of the ballot papers to the respective constituencies and wards, and due to that, we had seen delays in terms of the starting times for the voting. Of course, we had instances where voting started on time, like in Harare Central, for example, it started around 7 a.m. and Harare East, it started on time. But then we have had cases where in some cases the starting time was around 9:30. Or 10:30, voting has just started. Unfortunately, the delay is not only in Harare also. We have a situation where in Manicaland, at around 12 midday, only about 4 out of 26 constituencies had started the voting process. And also in Bulawayo, I'm sure you noted the concerns about, with regards to Bulawayo, the ballot papers for council candidates, which had serious errors, grave errors, and due to that, voting started very late in most of the wards in Bulawayo. For example, Bulawayo Central started at around 11 a.m. Same applies to Bulawayo North, Bulawayo South, and Tumbali Juve started at 12:15 midday. Kokumanziligazi 11 a.m. Kulumane 11 a.m., Pelandava 11 a.m., and Kumula started very late at 2:30 p.m. And those were the concerns that we noted. And however, like what the previous speaker said, we really salute the people of Zimbabwe because they have stood resilient, and some of them, they are still there waiting for the starting time. They are still there waiting for them to cast their vote. And what we noted in this regard is there is a 12-hour time frame allowable for voting. And we are, as the CCC, we are keeping watch of the times that the voting process started, and we expect ZEC to adhere to the 12-hour prescribed time frame. If the voting started, say, at 2:30, then we expect the voting to stop at 2:30 a.m. So basically, this is where we are in terms of the starting times, and I will defer the proceedings to the other speakers, I think.
Right, members of the press, now that we've heard that summary from our chief election agent for the presidential candidate, as well as our elections directorate, we're now going to defer proceedings to our chain champion-in-chief, President Nelson Chamisa, who's going to give or deliver the main address.
Thank you, Advocate Mahere. Just to say that there's no main address to be made by myself, but just to appreciate members of the press for attending at such a short notice. We had no intention to have this press conference. As you are aware, this afternoon I voted in Kwazana. I was so humbled. The level of support from the people is overwhelming. But what is disturbing for us is that we had hoped that we would have a normal election. The election has not been normal. I think the chief election has already indicated what our complaints and concerns are. In fact, I'm sure they approached ZEC, but ZEC seems to be either weak, incapable, or out of capacity to deal with the issues that are supposed to be dealt with. Because those issues that were raised have not been addressed by ZEC. It's a cause for concern. ZEC seems to have confirmed our fears that they will probably fail to pass the credibility test, the professionalism test, the independence test, and the constitutionality test. And more importantly, the non-partisanship test, because we don't expect ZEC to pitch camp with any side of the fighting or competing sides in this election. The fact that they've targeted Harare, the fact that they've targeted Bulawayo is an indication that they are scared of people in the urban areas. They are scared of citizens in the urban areas. And if you look at the number of voters in Harare, you are talking of over 1.2 million registered voters who, in the main, have been disenfranchised. This is a clear case of voter suppression, a classic case of Stone Age, antiquated, analog, where you say, find an excuse to say, we have all the other ballots, the presidential ballot is there, the parliamentary ballot is there, but you don't have the council candidates ballots. This is in Harare, where the ballots are being printed, but we have ballots for Uzumba, for Munzi, for Mtoko, where there's no printing press that prints ballots. It tells you that you need to make a big rate in terms of the approach of ZEC. And ZEC is not alone. It is handlers. And it is those handlers who are afraid of the imminent verdict of the people. That verdict is being contaminated, adulterated, because the people have spoken. Across the country, people are clear that they want change, and the supporters. I mean, you can see that ZANU-PF are very desperate. They are rattled. They did not start today. They did it with the issue of the nomination. They did it even before the nomination, the gerrymandering in terms of the boundaries. They did it even with double candidates, connivance to impose double candidates in the CCC. What they tried to do in Bulawayo when they intended to withdraw and remove our 12 members of parliament. And now what you are seeing is an escalation of those antics and tactics. Tactics of desperation, tactics that are deliberate, that are shameless, and tactics that are done by people who are in trouble. They have no mandate to govern this country. So they've plunged this country into a crisis. Starting from tomorrow, there's no government in Zimbabwe. Mr. Mnangagwa can claim, but he's not the president of this country, legally and constitutionally. So the country is being driven into a crisis, a constitutional crisis, a political crisis, and an electoral crisis. But we've said, and I must thank the citizens for soldiering on. They are still in the queue. And we are encouraging all the citizens, wherever you are, if you have not cast your vote, cast your vote. Your vote must count. They don't want your vote to count. They want to discount your vote, particularly in Harare, in Bulawayo, and in Manikale. But there's a formula to the madness. Mr. Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF, they know that they have no support in these provinces. And that's why they victimized the provinces, targeted them. But by doing so, they are also nullifying the effect of a credible election. And I'm glad as I welcome His Excellency President Goodluck Jonathan, who is here on behalf of the AU, just to observe and hear what our plans are. We have invited all the observer groups. That is the norm, that is the standard, and I'm glad that they are taking note of our very well considered concerns. So yes, my message to Zimbabwe, we are receiving reports from across the country. What is shocking and surprising is that in the rural areas, it was not a vote. They were commandeering people, but our people were very vigilant. They had this thing that they called the poll exit poll survey, which is unheard of. Even in banana republics, they don't do such things. But Mr. Mnangagwa has scored the first. In this one, he has defeated Mugabe in all his weaknesses and mistakes. He has gone a notch higher. And we are not going to accept that nonsense. People's vote must count. Citizens' vote must count. The voice of the citizens must count. So yes, opportunity overnight to receive reports, to assess the situation in the country, and inform the country on the direction we're going to take. We are not going to allow Mr. Mnangagwa to try and repeat in 2018 on the citizens of Zimbabwe. So my message to Zimbabwe is to encourage Zimbabweans to stay on course, to be vigilant, to wherever you are. I know that some of you are sick, you have ailments, but this is the last hurdle. If you have waited for 43 years, what's so special about the night? Endure. We are going to enjoy. We are going to celebrate. There is going to be the people's will and the citizens' will in this country. And I've always said, God is in it. God's way and God's will shall be fulfilled. And there's going to be celebration in this country. Because the people want change. The people want a new government and a new leader. I want to thank you. I'll take any questions. Yeah, any questions? Thanking our teams who are doing a fantastic job to receive reports on what is happening across the whole country. I thank you. Yes. May you amplify your voice, my brother?
It's not a question.
Yeah.
Maybe it's for clarification. What the public that was behind delaying the votes probably are going to go to trouble because maybe the representatives also probably need to go to vote at night, which is also going to cause many also need to address this skills.
That's right. But thank you for raising that. That's our concern. By making sure that people don't vote in time, they are trying to create an opportunity for criminal conduct, for cheating and chicanery, for amplifying the vote in the urban areas by importing people from the rural areas. We understand that they didn't have enough buses and transport and enough time to move people from the rural areas to the urban areas. I suppose that's the reason why. We can only conjecture, because we asked for the explanation from ZEC. They can't give the reason. Because ZANU-PF do not indicate the reason why they are doing that. By having night activity, you're actually undermining the security and credibility of the vote. You're actually rendering the vote vulnerable to machinations, to forces, dark forces that operate at night. And that is our biggest problem for the Harare vote. And even the vote was supposed to be counted, but now people are still talking of votes. And we're also hearing reports that they want to close the polling station at 7, even for those that studied at 4. That would be scandalous, illegal, and unacceptable. But we are going to be assessing the situation. We don't want to put the cart before us. We will take every situation as it comes. But I want to tell you that the people have been fantastic in their support. And we are urging and encouraging Zimbabwe to make sure that they are around the polling station within the limits of the law to secure the polling station and therefore for their vote to count. But that vote is already contaminated. And we have to make sure that we give effect to the will and to sacrifice of the people.
So I wanted to find out what is your plan to address these anomalies.
Well, the plan is coming. Once we have received a full report, we will be able to tell the nation and the world the direction. That's why we have invited observers, so that they also appreciate our position. What shocks that we are the only party that is complaining. ZANU-PF are not complaining because they are happy with the arrangement. They've done this thing in connivance with ZEC, and it's a serious issue. They are trying to undermine the will of the people, but they will not succeed. We will not accept any kind of skullduggery, any kind of tomfoolery, any kind of funny nonsense that they're trying to do. We are the people, we are the citizens. Enough is enough. We can't allow a repeat of 2018, or else we'll have to take some very serious measures that have to advance peace in this country and stability.
Under these circumstances, how confident are you that this election is going to produce a credible outcome? If no, what is the reason for continuing with a process that will probably end up with a disputed outcome? Is the highlights we're getting right now from your presentation.
The sanctity of the sacrifice of the people is important and respected. The people are committed. The people want their vote to count. I have no power to nullify or discredit or discount that vote and that voice until we have done consultation with those people who voted. When somebody spends a whole day in the queue and you just wake up and say, to hell with that, we can't do that. We must respect the dignity of that vote. We must respect the sacrifice of the elder, of the young, of people who are even not feeling well, sick people who have been in the queues for their voice to count in government. You know, we are peacemakers. We want to give peace a chance and democracy a chance. But there's a line in the sand that needs to be drawn. So in terms of the credibility, you can see that Mr. Mnangagwa was planning all along to nullify the credibility of this vote. It is up to him to justify to the world and to the people of Zimbabwe. But as far as we will not allow it, because we can't allow this country to be ruled or governed by people who do not have the mandate to decide.
I think for the first time in our country we're going to have a night election. Public opinion has been concerned that they started voting a bit late, and yesterday evening we woke up today in the morning when there were a lot of flyers that were fake from the CCC discrediting that we had actually disowned this election. Now, given these circumstances where we're having people voting at night, does the CCC have election agents or the capacity to defend the night vote, since people are continuously voting right now? Are you going to be defending the vote tonight? Because there are reports that FAS agents are deployed across urban areas and across the country to try and manipulate the election.
Well, the first time of ZEC is their culpability and complicity in allowing FAS to be an extension of the process. FAS is not supposed to be anywhere near ZEC processes and ZEC activities. But they have contaminated and polluted these processes by inviting a shadowy, spooky, ghostly organization that is not known at law to come and interfere, poison and discredit the election. But this is not the first time FAS is doing funny things. They did it in the internal ZANU-PF elections, and a lot of manipulations with them. You know, it's common cause. They have today now establish their stubbornness to a national election. We will not accept. But of course, ZANU-PF is so desperate. I have told you a catalogue of their desperate acts. These are the last kicks of a dying horse. They are history. They are the past. They are the game with their own quizlings. But we've said, look, we are going to match you toe to toe to the last man. And we've done so. We ran a fantastic campaign. We ran a fantastic mobilization. People support us. People are with us. All the four corners of the country. We are the only national party. ZANU-PF is not a party. It's a mafia gang. That's why you see terror in everything that they are doing. And we are conscious of what they're doing, especially as they print them. We even know where they printed those flyers. We have two companies where they were printing the flyers. FAS taking a key role, ZANU-PF playing a key role. That's their tactics. Selous scout tactics, rotation tactics. They have learned well from Smith, and they continue that path on colonialism. We will stop them. The people shall come, and the citizens shall come.
And besides the communication with received from ZEC, has the party engaged ZEC? And if not, or if you have, what has been the response?
We have engaged ZEC to a point of no to a point of actually being a nuisance. We had our election agents engaging ZEC, our election department and bureau engaging ZEC. Like we told you, ZEC are also, their hands seem to be tied. They don't have capacity to even tell you of what's happening. They held a press conference in the afternoon to say that I think it was fake. Well, I don't know, but this, in fact, it's even scandal. They've not communicated with the people, so we don't even know what the position is. All we are just hearing is that ballots are going to come. People went to the ballot, the highest turnover ever, at 4 a.m. Up to this hour, they are still in the queue. What level of disrespect? What level of arrogance? No respect, no apology, no special emergency, extraordinary address to say this is the situation, it must be corrected, and this is how it's going to be corrected. People have to go to work. People have to plan their lives. How do they plan their life? They have not exercised their mandate and their critical vote. This day was a holiday. What about tomorrow? How do they make sure that they pursue or they follow national process? So it's a big issue that we have, particularly from ZEC. We've engaged them. We continue to engage them, but we're not happy with the response we are getting from ZEC. I'll take three last ones. 1, 2, 3.
Mr. Chamisa, you've been never the person who is weak in terms of approach to examine and engage people on your party. You have said that you will not take it anymore. But it's still should probably trust your word. And what is it that you do, which is different with what you did in 2018 or probably previously in the other opposite formations? What is it that you're going to do which makes it different and probably convincing to the
My
to the
brother,
voters?
I'm followed by people who follow me because they trust me. If you doubt me, that's okay. But those who trust us know what we are saying and they follow us. Thank you.
Just a point of clarity, you highlighted on cases of violence. I give information on where this violence was conducted and if it has been reported.
I'm sure the chief election agent highlighted, thank you, Rex, highlighted that in Muzarabad, the member of parliament in Muzarabad was attacked. There's a police report. And many other areas where we have been, I think Mazoe, across the whole country. And I think that is the emphasis that was made. And there are reports that have been made. It's official. This is not conjecture. And people have been terrorized in the rural areas. You know, those poor exit poll stations are terror stations. Because you are being asked to come there, register, and they want to know who we have voted for. You go back. That's rubbish. It doesn't happen in any civilized, jurisdiction. And that we have to fight. I can fight the last one. Yes. Otherwise, we are going to spend the whole night here. Okay. I'm sure you need to go to other, places, and I respect your indulgence.
Mr. Chamisa, your party has raised a lot of irregularities regarding this election. Let's say that 2008 repeats itself. Are you going to accept a GNU with President Emmerson Mnangagwa?
My brother, let's not cross, the bridge that is not been gotten to. The issue at the moment is a credible election. We can't talk of a GNU under these circumstances. A GNU to do what? To cheat people. A GNU to deceive people. The people have voted, and their vote must count. They must choose a leader of their choice. Not this thing by Mr. Mnangagwa wanting to come through the back door. In fact, he has not come through the back door. He wants to just come without even the door, just jumping off. We will not allow that. He knows that he doesn't have the support of the people, but he wants to reproduce himself. Almost what we were fighting against under Mugabe is now a Mugabe dams too. Maybe young people will say Mark II Mugabe. We don't want Mnangagwa to be in that kind of a thing. Let us respect the will of the people. When the people have decided, let's respect their decision. That is our people, and that is our request. Brother, I will say last,
okay,
very last.
Thank you. Last one.
No, I'm just trying to democratize.
Mr. Chamisa, you seem to be very sure about the outcome and how bad the situation is. Do we have some alternative suggestions on how you are going to deal with this bad situation according to how you have clearly expressed yourself?
Thank you, sir. I think this is what Paul was trying to say. But let's wait for, and I said, let's wait for a preliminary report, a comprehensive report. Then we'll come to you and give a way forward. Don't doubt us.
Thank you.
If you want to understand our weight and our soul, ask Zambia. Look at the investment that they're putting into fighting us. The resources will tell you that we are no Mickey Mouse. Nobody deploys this kind of force against weak people. They know our true way. And they know that we mean business. Fortunately, we mean business in peace. That's why they can't fight us. Because we can't fight and defeat a peaceful man. We carry the embodiment and wish of the people of Zimbabwe. And that's why people trust. And that's why people vote for us. And that's why people believe in us. And that's why When we say go and register to vote, they register to vote. When we say now, please make sure that you are participating in vote, they will participate.
All right, my question is just, I need a comment from you, President, about the presidential ballot papers in particular, where ZEC has said it was printed more than 7 million, and yet there are certain polling stations where the presidential ballot is not.
Well, the ZEC fiasco is legendary since Saturday. I can't even start to talk about ZEC in these phases. I'm sure they are better, position to comment on that. I'm actually shocked. I heard that in Chicago, they don't have ballots for the president, and in other areas it's for the local authorities. But it's deliberate to cause confusion so that they muddy the water. A catfish thrives in muddy water. You know why? Because those antics and tactics become easy. But we will not allow them to distort the will of the people. To run away from the will of the people. Fellow members of the press, thank you for your indulgence. We appreciate your time. God bless you. We can assure you that the will of the people of Zimbabwe and the people of Zimbabwe out there, go and continue to defend your vote. Don't retire to bed before you cast your vote in those areas where you have not cast your vote. We will come to you on the way forward, but we want the vote to count, and we want this election to have a meaning in the lives of the people of Zimbabwe as we usher you in a new leadership and a new government. I thank you. God bless you. Thank you. Good night.
Gusto ba?